Hello and welcome to episode 2, take 2 of Athaaso, the weekly podcast.
I hate everything Jacob owns.
Everything I own breaks for whatever reason. I mean, you're going to be seeing our video about the cards and the evolution of the cards that cuts out at the end.
Yep.
And I if you remember the Kickstarter that cuts out at the end, because I forgot the outro, and you probably haven't seen the Monday episode. That was like the first episode we recorded from here. They cut out. That still hasn't exported because nothing I own up works.
Anyways, so summing up, we've already done the first 5 minutes of the podcast, and we're going to do it again.
Yes.
Today we're talking about the Enth Team, basically the blog of the Enth Team, as well as the template.
Yeah.
Just to make it a decent length.
Because we've already gone through, in the first episode 1, we went through some of the other blog posts, because that's kind of what we're doing for the first bit of this series, just going through the blog posts and saying more about them, expanding on some of the points. Yeah, because no one reads the blog posts.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Not that anyone listens to this, but still.
Anyway, I'm going to reread the first paragraph of this, and what we're going to do...
Let's just check.
We're going to keep it on this screen, and we're going to read from here.
I can do this.
Okay, that
So
works.
got both.
Okay, we're going to make sure that this doesn't cut out.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the Athaaso team has always been very small, maximum 4, because...
Barely 4.
Because we wanted very dedicated people to be working on the team. However, this podcast and the blog will slightly contradict that, as now I talk about the size of people in the team, because, obviously not very dedicated, because... Anyway.
Yeah, as you'll find out. So, originally, it was Reese who came up with the card game, yes, and then he brought it into school one day, and then he told Georgie, and then they told me. I was going to do the art, Georgie was going to work on mechanics with Reese and stuff, and that was the team for kind of a long while. But as we're going to explain,
a few months.
It changed. It kind of waved a bit. But that's always kind of been the core team.
Yeah.
So it all kind of started in around like May time, 2015, 3 years ago. Wow. Yeah. So that was a team. Until one day, I drew a card of the School of Doom. So, as we explained first time round, Georgie has always been kind of a player of like Hearthstone and Yu-Gi-Oh! So I think he was expecting something a bit more serious with my card designs. But when it came around to doing School of Doom, the card that Reese kind of originally came up with,
our school was fine.
Yeah, it wasn't based on our school, but it was based on education in general. And yeah, instead of doing something that was actually like Doom related, I drew it with a heart on the front of the school, which Georgie did not like, and he quit.
George and Jacob always disagreed on many things, and Georgie would never back down.
Yeah, so he quit, and he came back, and then it was Sports Day.
Yeah.
So that was July 2015, right at the end of like term. And then he quit. I can't remember exactly his reasoning, but I'm pretty sure he's just like, "Oh, this will never work.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?" And then he left.
And then we convinced him to rejoin about a week later.
Was it a week? I'm pretty sure it was like the next day that he just came back. But then a week later, like the day before the final day of term, the incident happened. That Reese likes to remind me about a lot. I don't think it was in the original Athaaso thing. Basically, around this time, me, Georgie, and Reese, we'd always contact each other every night on Google Hangouts. so we could discuss the card game. Basically, one day, Reese, you're not going to be able to find the original message.
I will. Damn it. Okay, yeah.
I guess I could try and find it. But it's going
to
take forever.
Okay, while Jacob tries to find it, I'm going to explain what the message contained. And then when Jacob finds it, he can explain what the message contained. And you can decide who you want to believe.
You're going to believe me because I'm reading the actual message.
Anyway.
So, explain it from your perspective, please.
Well, it was the day before the summer holidays.
Well, the day before last day of term.
Yeah, the day before last day of term. And Jacob, at about 8 o'clock, sent this horrible paragraph-long message, which he sent quite a few paragraph-long messages. It wasn't
just out of the blue. We were discussing it for a while. We were talking for a while, me and Georgie. And
Not me.
It culminated in me saying this message.
Yeah, because Jacob never agreed with Georgie on anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jacob sent this paragraph-long message, which he likes to send. And whenever I see it, it's always bad news because he wants to change something drastic, which I don't like. Change. And or he wants to leave, which he did twice with a really long message on the Google Hangouts. Broke up with me over Google Hangouts. Anyway, so yeah, basically it blamed me and Georgie for being way too hard on him, being horrible. Basically, it was a message that I thought was the end of our friendship, not just the end of Athaaso, but the end of Jacob, Reese, and Georgie as a group of people. It was not very nice. And then after the message, because Jacob's still looking for the actual message itself. After the message,
no, that's probably a better way of doing
it. Me and Georgie discussed on our separate hangouts, because I'm not sure if Jacob and Georgie had a private one.
I think we did.
But I had a private one with Georgie and a private one with Jacob. And so whenever I didn't want to talk to Georgie, I would talk to just Jacob. Whenever I didn't want to talk to Jacob, I would just talk to Georgie. So I just talked to Georgie, saying...
I just want to say, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think that was part of the reason why the message... That was in my mind at the time of creating the message. Because it felt like you were talking behind my back about a lot of stuff.
Well, most of it was irrelevant to you.
Well, okay. I'm just gonna...
Much like God, it may be impossible to prove that Canada does not in fact exist.
Right.
That was the thing.
You tried saying that Australia doesn't exist.
Well, do you have any proof?
We have lots of proof.
Well,
People are from Australia.
Would they think they were from Australia? Actually from New Zealand. Australia doesn't actually exist.
Australia's a giant landmass.
Yeah.
I think we'd realise if it didn't exist.
No, they've just made it up.
Who made it up?
The UN.
The UN.
As a hope for when people go. If people go to Australia, what they're really doing is go to Switzerland.
It's like the opposite side of the world.
No, but you don't get it. They're going to Switzerland because of the
because of Dignitas.
What?
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 What are you saying?
Because they allow you the...
Yeah, so Dignitas.
Okay, that one. Is that another word for it?
Well, because that's the place, isn't it?
I guess so.
They allow people to...
Anyway.
I don't know if this is actually going to...
Well, it's July, isn't it?
Hang out with Reese Barrett.
Okay, hangout's ridiculous.
Bye. That was the end of the conversation.
Originally, we just used to do it via email. Just why the hangouts don't go all the way back.
No, it's definitely...
Wait, it's July... No, it's July's the...
Hello, hi, this is a good idea. What should I call the group of superheroes? You can use videos, can't we? Yes, I guess, sure.
Anyway.
Where? Thank you. That was the end.
Well, Jacob, while you find it, I'm going to look. If we swap places, I'll find it and you talk about your perspective.
Why?
Jacob.
I've lost the call. Okay, so from my perspective, it's a little bit more complicated. Or I don't know. Basically, it always kind of, as Reese kind of already brought up, Georgie liked to disagree with pretty much everything that I said, and Georgie and Reese would always agree on everything, and everything I suggested would get shot down. And it just felt like, it's very annoying for me because I couldn't really do much. I was just drawing. Yeah. Don't just delete everything, Reese.
It's got to be in this one. You keep going.
So I was very annoyed, and then I decided to leave, basically, and it had kind of been building up for a while, and yeah, that was kind of the gist of it. I wanted to leave for the summer, just as a break from everything. Apparently I sent this really horrible message.
You did.
But yeah, I just wanted a break for the summer. I don't know.
You didn't make that obvious.
But I think my reasoning was I didn't realize that it would literally implode the day after I left. The entire card game would just be over.
Imploded hours after you.
And then they created a new card game, Education, which is a whole other thing. But yeah, so I kind of left for the summer. That was okay. So I came back at the end of the summer holiday, 2015. Just trying to look through the blog post. Yeah, so everything happened over the summer holiday. Reese got me to do a couple of illustrations for their new Education game, which I wasn't really a fan of. And then Reese came up with a new Roman card game after the Education card game died, and then it was that kind of basically convinced me to come back and rework on Enigma. So Enigma started back up with the new school year in 2015, and then I think that was when Georgie left.
He still didn't agree with anything. He thought it wouldn't work because it's not serious enough. And
yeah, I remember him saying that he said that he wanted us to bring him some kind of like a final game, and then he'd be a part of it, which doesn't make much sense.
Yeah,
he wanted like a final game brought to him, which yeah. So it's pretty much just me and Reese from then on. So just reading the blog.
Later on, Georgie did rejoin us.
Yes, that was August 2016. So yeah, a year later, Georgie rejoined, and I guess he kind of stayed on for a while. Oh, add on. Okay. Then what happened? That was 2017, wasn't it? A year later again.
Yeah.
No. Okay, since that point, 2016 happened. Georgie came back. I'm not sure how long he came back for, because I remember you trying to quit at one point.
Yeah.
And Georgie wasn't part of the card game, so I think he left during 2016. Then at the beginning of 2017, Reese decided he wanted to leave because he felt like he didn't have much to do with the card game anymore, even though he was doing all of the stats and everything with the card game. Yeah, so he kind of left, but then came back immediately. So it doesn't really count, but yeah, and then Georgie came back at some point. Then later on in 2017, I left again. So my reasoning behind that one was it was just kind of tiring at this point with the game because it'd been so long, and we were kind of discussing the game, and I was realizing that the whole reason, because I'd left a couple of times at this point, and I was kind of beginning to realize why I was leaving and why this thing wasn't really working that well, and it was just because we were kind of making a different game to each other. Because I wanted something that was a bit less serious, that was more a party game, and they wanted something that was more serious and had more serious art and all this kind of stuff. So something more along the lines of Hearthstone or Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess. And that made me kind of realise that maybe I should quit, and I kind of quit. And then I came back immediately because I was like, okay, this thing is pretty much already done.
Say that, but that was October.
Yes, that was October, and I was like, okay, this is pretty much already done. We can release a Kickstarter in like a couple of weeks and get it out the door. So yeah, I stayed until Kickstarter was out, and I think that was around the time when Georgie then finally decided that he was just out for good. And he was done, and instead we got Tom.
Yeah. Tom is still our friend.
The Tom saga.
The Tom saga. The Tom saga wasn't very much.
Yeah, so Tom was Reese's friend from high school, I guess.
Yeah.
Secondary school, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, Tom wanted to join. He was always very big in the playtesting of it. He was the person who played the most, apart from me.
Well, once we'd gotten to college.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was 2016, like late 2016, when he kind of started playtesting for us and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was good help.
He's probably actually played more games with Mayor than Jacob has.
Oh no, don't say that.
He's played a lot.
So yeah, he decided to join properly in October 2017, right when Georgie is kind of leaving. So he didn't really take over from Georgie. Instead, he decided that it would be best for him to do like blog posts and kind of advertising and stuff, I guess, that kind of, and updating like social media and stuff, right up until like the launch of the Kickstarter.
He did 3 or 4 blog posts, and
he did a couple things on Facebook, I think.
Yeah.
So he did a bit,
but in about 2 months, we all knew that he wasn't doing enough to be part of the company. And when the Kickstarter failed, I think if the Kickstarter succeeded, I don't think Tom would have lasted very long anyway. But when the Kickstarter failed, Tom decided, well, that was it.
He just didn't really do enough. I don't think he didn't have that same kind of
passion for the game,
because he kind of came in later. And
yeah.
So yeah, Tom, he left, and that kind of brings us to now, when I don't know what's going on with the team. It seems like it's just me and Reese from now on.
Yeah.
I mean, Georgie kind of. I don't know what's going on with Georgie.
Georgie's always been very into criticising the game.
Only it seems like he still kind of follows what we're doing.
Yeah.
More than Tom, I feel like.
Yeah. He's always said that it won't work.
Don't know who our next member is going to be, but I mean, we're moving to university soon, so don't know what's happening with the team then. But yeah, that's the team.
That's that one. Now, that's basically sums it up.
Yeah.
Right.
A briefish history of everything.
And then, next we're going to talk about the template.
Yes.
This was balloons, which is why my description is still not actually a balloon, because my picture was a balloon. I like balloons. Basically, when we changed the tile system, because I didn't want to wait for Jacob to make loads of pictures, I made a balloon game in about an hour. balloon version of the game.
It's like an out.
Well, you just had to change the mana and the stats because all the descriptions were the same. It was just red balloons.
Why didn't you have the balloon game? Do you not have it anymore?
It's at home somewhere.
Oh.
It's somewhere in the thing. It's basically just the orange.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. Yeah, it's basically just the orange one.
Yeah. If you saw the overview of all the card layouts.
Yeah. If you haven't seen that yet, then when you see it, you'll understand. If you have seen it,
it's the orange one.
then yeah, it's the orange one. And basically, it was just 2 decks. Red balloons would destroy and flip tiles, and blue balloons would add and flip tiles. And
basically, just the simplest form of the game, so we could test it and see if like the tile mechanic was actually any good.
Yeah.
And it kind of worked.
Yeah, I did like the balloon game.
Yeah. Except,
Except,
as Reese is going to explain, the fundamental flaw with having one side with all the add tiles, one with all the destroy tiles.
okay, there were 2 major problems. One was the adds an enemy, add a friendly. Basically, the blue balloon ones that weren't flip a tile sucked. The add a friendly ones just gave more mana to your opponent. And because red was merrily destroying tiles, it just let your opponent get loads of stuff. And the add an enemy tile was a card that you literally just could never play. You would always just keep it in your hand and hope that you never have to play it. And even though it gave you more mana, it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
It was always a bad card to play. Well, it wasn't always a bad card to play. It was 99% of the time a bad card to play. Bearing in mind that all of these cards are 5 or 3 mana.
But the better one by far was the destroy tiles, because you had so many different things you could do with them.
Yeah.
Like making your own island, which is a common strategy.
Yeah. The other issue with the game was the island strategy. Basically, what blue would do is would try and lure red into just creating an island. And basically, because red could only destroy or flip tiles, once red had a little island where basically an island is a small selection of tiles, it's not connected to the rest of it. So you could have 2 big islands, just as the whole board. But basically, because blue would refuse to add in, blue would just get more tiles on their area, and red couldn't add any tiles to either get over to the blues area or make more on their area, apart from flip their tiles, but then instantly the red thing over there would die. So basically, red, as soon as red would fall into the trap of just making an island, blue would just
They'd win.
They'd win. There was literally no way the red could win.
Because either they'd draw too many cards, and then they'd have 11 in their hand, and then it would be over, or they'd draw all their cards and then slowly have to destroy their own tiles one by one.
Yeah.
Because they only had so many things that they could play anyway. Like so many cards.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, that was the big problem. Plus, with destroying tiles, you could starve your opponent of mana, basically. That was the other thing.
Yeah.
So you could destroy your own tiles, then your opponent can summon anything. Which is, I'm pretty sure, is the reason why we added the player 2 can have an extra mana. Is that one of the reasons?
No, player 2 can have an extra mana. Starts with the other one. The mana rule introduced with the balloons was the minimum of 3, because all the cards were either 5 or 3 mana. So basically, there was a strategy where red would just destroy 2 friendly tiles, and then all of a sudden, blue can't summon anything because they'd have 2 mana.
Yeah.
That's why we're still keeping that, even though there are 1 mana monsters, because it is ridiculous.
Yeah, so you'd move on to opponent tiles, flip it, and destroy one of your own tiles behind you.
Yeah.
So you just slowly go one by one, destroying all your opponent's tiles. It was pretty overpowered.
Yeah. Or you just just summon things onto the board without adding any of your tiles. So just destroying random tiles everywhere. And because you can summon things your opponent can't, your opponent would just would have 11 cards in their hand before you.
So yeah.
But I always loved the balloon game. It was fluid and moved well, even though one deck was clearly better than the other.
Yeah.
Unless you sucked, and then it's impossible to win.
It was just very quick and very simple, which is nice.
Yeah. It's actually thanks to the balloons that we do have an odd mana system, because all the balloons were for 5 or 3 mana, and then I thought, well, I didn't really want to make any 4 mana monsters, or 6 or 2, so we've got 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. If you didn't notice that already.
Yeah, I didn't notice for the longest time. It's kind of I felt kind of stupid after that.
But yeah. And basically that's it. That's all we have to talk about for that.
Yeah.
And it is still recording.
Yay. It hasn't died yet.
Hasn't died yet.
Which is better than most of our attempts at making stuff for this YouTube channel. So, I guess that's a positive.
Yeah. As with the last podcast, please leave us questions and stuff so we can answer them.
Yeah, we have more to talk about, and we don't end up just having half an hour of just blank, empty nothingness.
Yeah. So,
I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, press the bell icon,
subscribe, favorite, rate, friend.
Show us to all your friends. Get them all to watch it. And
what other mechanics have YouTube destroyed over the years? I don't know.
That's it, really. Mainly just rate.
Yeah, and friending.
Yeah,
friending was fun.
Add this to your watch later.
Even though you've already watched it at this point.
Yeah, you can watch it 6 or 7 times. Favourite this video and
watch out the podcast.
Yeah, and remember to dab on those haters.